Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm Damian Hill. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Tonight, we are breaking down the Three Rivers Throwdown 17 card going down in Onalaska, Wisconsin at the Onalaska Omni Center. But before we get into the breakdown, the sponsor of the show, Valhalla Combat Sports, Ink Shrinks Tattoo out in New Brighton, Minnesota, Origin Wellness CBD, the Striking Institute, the Fighters, and TJ's mom. All. And please don't let me forget James Clark's Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy. It didn't slip my mind. How are you doing tonight, TJ?
I'm doing great because we're talking about these fights, and if you're watching this video, these fights are going down tonight.
What more can we ask for, dude? Seriously, like being at live fights, there's nothing better, at least for what we do. It's what we thrive for. It's what we live for, you know. And if you guys are planning on watching these fights, you're going to have to be there live, and we're excited to see you. And just so if you are planning on being there, TJ, could you let them know who all is fighting?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of fights, so bear with me while I take like 4 breaths in the meanwhile here. First fight of the night is the lone kickboxing match. James Moreno going against Joe Aguilar. Getting into MMA, we have Christian Jorgensen going against Maxim Andrade. Isaac Orozco going against Isaiah Culp. Gabe Quigley is fighting Ben Ekdahl. We got Isaiah Kunert is fighting Nicholas Tim. Noah Steenhoff is fighting Joey Ahern. We got Colin Benson going against Mensa Amuzu. We got Logan Reed going against Sean O'Neill. We got Tyler Pederick going against Mike Lundy. Seth Harrelson versus Brandon Craigle. Alfonso Bell versus CJ Hayes. The 105-pound title fight for the amateurs, Brittany Neiman versus Charity Levi. 205-pound title fight for the men, Dylan Klukas versus Thomas Herrera. Getting into the pro card, we have the pro debut of Olivia Biscow versus Amanda Lovato. Co-main event of the evening, I made an error last time, co-main event of the evening, Ben Ross versus Mr. Tom Krenzel. And your main event, Felipe Martinez Donez, he's fighting against Caleb Mirth. So start to bottom, tons of fight, tons of action, and we're going to be there live tonight.
Well, okay, so why are you going over the card? Because I've looked up the records, and I've looked up, well, I already know who most of the active fighters already are, and I'm already fans of all of them. They all bring something to the table. But the one thing that excites me about this card is that there's so many fighters that I don't know and I haven't heard of and I have never seen perform because they've never actually fought before. We have 0-0 versus 0-0 in so many of the matchups. And then on top of that, we have 0-1 versus 0-1 and 0-2 versus 0-2. This is the classic matchup. They usually say when two undefeated fighters go at it, someone's O must go. Well, when you have guys that don't have a win yet but are trying to get that, someone's O must go as well. And that's when you start to get some of the harder fights. Not necessarily, but it's just one of those things as amateurs, everybody's striving to get back into a win column or at least get into the win column in the first place at all. So the 0-0 guys versus another 0-0 guy and guys that have one loss and one loss themselves going against each other always excites me because it comes down to who wants it more. And I mean, well, I guess it comes down to who wants it more for the guys that already have fought. The other ones, you just don't know. And what's unexpected is always the most appreciated. I've seen some fights that have they've performed at the same level or the same capacity as some of the other people on the card, but because I didn't know that they could do that, I was way more excited about it. That's what excites me about 0-0 guys versus 0-0 guys or girls as well.
Yeah.
So
and I guess this is a credit to Eric Anderson and his matchmaking. A lot of these fights on paper, at least, which is all you can do, is make a fight even on paper. You look at it and you match them up. That's the thing with the 0-0 person is it's the unknown. You don't know what you're going to get. You could get someone who wants to try a couple fights out for a hobby, and you can have someone that's very easily going to make this their career. And we don't know. They just haven't given that opportunity yet. So coming off, COVID live fights, I'm very excited to see a lot of these guys, because a lot of these people, they probably expected to do this maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and they didn't get that chance, and then it was taken from them. So imagine the work that's been put in. If they thought they were ready to fight 2 years ago, I want to see them fight tonight.
It's so interesting. It adds that much more to the fight. The 0-0 fights, it's not the ones that I'm most excited for, because I'm most excited for the ones that I know something about, but it's all ones that I'm never more surprised from what I see from 0-0 guys.
No, the potential is going to be there, and we're definitely going to, like I said, I'm going to be there for the first fight. I'm going to watch all these fights because I want to see what happens. And I've bit my tongue the whole time. I got to talk about the fight. This is going to be the violent fight. This is going to be, I'm put on record right now, this is my pick for fight of the night. I mentioned it during the interviews as well. Alfonso Bell going against CJ Hayes. This is a fight on paper, on video, on three, however you want to put it. Think of a scenario. This is a crazy fight. These are two bulls. These are big gentlemen, thick gentlemen who weighed in tonight. You see those weigh-in pictures, the way they weighed in last night? These are big guys who are going to rehydrate. They're going to, I don't think either one wants to take a step backwards. They're going to throw huge haymakers. They're both going to, CJ Hayes versus Alfonso Bell. Like, what?
For the people that don't know, CJ Hayes has a right hand that he literally throws from the opposite side of the earth, building up momentum as he's curving it across the whole curve of the earth and bringing it to somebody's hand, or to somebody's head. Sorry. Yeah. And then you have Alfonso Bell, who literally can take anything thrown at him and will brush it off as if it's nothing and come right back at you, dude. This dude is not afraid of anything. This fight, dude, you said fight of the night. I don't know necessarily if it's going to be that, but it's going to be something of the night for sure, either for both of these gentlemen or one of these gentlemen. Yeah. Both of them have the skill to go out there and knock the other one, or both of them have the power to go out there and knock the other one out. Both of them have the skill to go out there and earn a decision victory over the other one. And both of them are strong enough and competitive enough to win the fight, or if the fight goes to the ground, to either submit or TKO their opponent. This is a big fucking fight for both men. This is the fight that I'm easily the most excited for.
100%. It's a great fight. And people, they want to pretend, Alfonso hasn't fought since 2018. So people might think he has been putting in work. He's been, if you haven't seen his videos on social media, the work, the timing, and then you have CJ. We had a chance to speak with him leading up to this fight. Timing worked out. And, he talks about the growth he's made. And this is like, we talk on the interview, the first time he's actually fought more than one time in a calendar year. Like, he's always had bad breaks, bad situations. So to see him be able to turn that up at a new weight class, I'm done talking about it. If you haven't bought your ticket yet, I don't want to be your friend.
That fight alone should be enough to get everyone interested, because they only get better from here.
Yeah, because right after that we get into the 105-pound title fight. You have Brittany versus Charity Levi. This is a great fight on paper. Charity has a lot of experience. I mean, and this is at 105 pounds. Most of her fights have been up a weight. Most of her fights, she's had to fight bigger girls. And so you look at her record, she's 4-3. Throw that out the window. Watch her fight. You see the way she moves. And Brittany's a girl where, 105 pounds, she can crack. She hits hard, like legitimately. In her fights, you see her hit women and their eyes open up. At 105 pounds, that's not something you see every day.
No, Brittany definitely. One of the things that I was really impressed with her is her striking and her output. She doesn't stop. She keeps going the whole time. And I believe it was her first fight where I seen her actually get taken down, and then she was able to reverse and get on top. And then the next time the takedown was engaged, she actually stuffed the takedown and then wound up on top, taking mount position. I was really impressed by that. And then even in her second fight for LFA, she got taken down and was able to get a reversal again right away. She was the one who initiated, and she took her down right away, which was a little bit surprising to me because of her ability on the feet. I didn't know exactly why she was going for the takedown, but she did it and she was successful with it. And then from the experience that I've seen in her first fight with the reversal ability and with her striking ability, her ground and pound, and her ability to avoid the submission in that very first fight, I loved it. I became a fan as soon as I started watching that fight. And going into this fight is one of those ones where is her reversals and her jiu-jitsu and wrestling defense going to be enough to keep it on the feet? Because I believe this fight favors her if she stays on the feet, but she's also going against another girl who has amazing takedown ability and never stops punching along with Brittany. They both continue to punch and they both can take a shot. This is definitely worthy of a title fight, and I can't wait to see who comes out with their hand raised. And again, like you said, you have your pick for a fight of the night between Alfonso Bell and CJ Hayes.
Yep.
This is my sleeper fight that I have. It's a title fight for a reason, but it's one of those fights where they could easily steal the show because it has the potential to go 5 rounds. Both of them can take a shot. Both of them can deliver a shot. There's great takedown ability and there's great reversal ability.
Yeah.
This is my sleeper fight pick.
100%. The fact that you're going to see them go for 5 rounds, it's going to be high intensity. They're not going to get tired. You don't get tired. they're going to fight all day at that weight. And, people might, you mentioned a sleeper fight, they might look at it and say, well, atomweight, that's not a division in the UFC. These girls can fight. They might not, just because it's not a UFC division, watch out for that one. And that brings us into the next title fight with 205-pound amateur title. Number 1 ranked Dylan Kalugas going against number 4 ranked Thomas Herrera for the Ironworks title, or excuse me, the Three River title. It's going down. This is a crazy fight. Dylan is a guy who came literally out of nowhere. I mean, if last time we were talking to interviews, I mean, he had 0 fights. And then this is a guy whose career literally started and thrived during the pandemic. And he's only had 4 fights, but god damn, he's looked good in every single one. He's finished guys. His last fight, he fought a guy called Kane Springus from Iowa, was undefeated, went out there and got him out of there. This is a dangerous guy. He has strong wrestling, huge power in his hands, and he's going against Thomas Herrera, who, like I said, we had a chance to speak to, has been doing this now for over a decade. You don't see many guys going into their 18th career amateur fight. This experience at that level is going to play dividends. Whether he's able to ride the storm, who knows if it's a storm? Dylan could potentially do this all day. We just haven't seen anybody be able to take it so far. So Thomas is going to have to come out. We talked about his preparation. That's a banger. 2 big gentlemen throwing heat.
Yeah, no, I love everything you said, especially when you talk about because you said the matchup perfectly. I don't need to add any more to that. But when we talk about the fighters, we talk about Thomas Herrera and the depth in his record and the experience that he has versus a guy who's riding the momentum of a 4-0 win streak with all finishes in the first round. That is just an exciting headline for me for this fight.
Yeah.
And you just don't know, like, what is it going to be? Is it going to be the I want to say young stud, but like
the same age.
Yeah, momentum.
Yeah.
Momentum is mainly what I want to go at for the people because fight life is different. You know, we talked about Thomas Herrera's experience and how long he's been in the game. 18 fights. That's a long time. You know, when you talk about we've talked off camera. This is one of those things. I study boxing history and all that stuff, and I relay a lot of things back to you. Uh, the professional boxers back in the day, like who was it? Rocky Marciano was only technically he was only a boxer,
Yeah.
professional boxer for 6 to 8 years.
Yeah.
That was it. And then he retired. He was done. Most people didn't even start until later on. The amateur thing. I mean, well, that's a whole nother story and everything with all that. Tune in for the next episode. But but realistically, fighters had shorter careers and they didn't spend as much time actually growing up fighting. It was something that they decided to do later on. And now you have Thomas Herrera, who's been doing this forever, and then you have his opponent, and oh my God, dude, he's young in the sport is how they say it. Like I was trying to collect my thoughts, but young in the sport is the term.
Yeah.
And he's riding a wave of momentum against the guy that has all this experience. That is just so interesting to me. And honestly, you don't know because we've seen this in the UFC before where a guy has been a veteran of the UFC for 3, 5, 6 years fighting a guy who's making their debut, and you just don't know.
No, this fight can be the main event on any card in Minnesota. You put a card anywhere, especially in the South, southern Minnesota, where both these guys, they're from, made their name. This is going to sell a ticket. But guess what? This ain't the main event. We got 3 more fights. We get into the pro portion of the card. We got Olivia B-Scout making her pro debut. This is a gal who has it. She has it. Everything you look for, it showed in her amateur career. First fight, hiccup, boom, just wins 4 in a row like it's nothing. Dominant performances in each fight. Gets better every time. And then we have a chance to talk to her leading up to this fight, her mindset going into it. I don't even got much to say. Dude, she's the real deal. And she's going against Amanda Lovato, who's from a high gym, good jiu-jitsu. This is going to be a fight that you'd think it plays on the ground, but when you get 2 grapplers together, I can see this fight being a scrap on the feet. It's going to come down to who wants it more, and these gals are going to fight.
Yeah, and then what we were talking about for the last fight, experience and how that might play a factor and how it can play a factor because Olivia has had enough experience as an amateur, and she's done – I mean, I think she's won a fight every way you can win. I think she's won a decision, submission, and TKO, and knockout. I believe she's done it all. And she's facing a girl who's actually never won a professional fight yet, but also has never spent any time as an amateur. And everyone that she has fought has had depth and great depth and good records in their amateur and professional career. And that's the aspect that I'm interested to see because I think that this is a really good fight. You mentioned it earlier where Eric Anderson is putting on good matchups and even matchups for people. And this is one where if you're making your pro debut, this is a dangerous fight to take because you're potentially giving somebody their first win, and they've only fought people that are on paper tougher and better than you. No offense to Olivia, just because of their depth in their pro records. But Olivia has a chance to come out there and get her first professional win and set the tone for the rest of her professional career against somebody who has depth in their record against tough competitors. This is a perfect fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a great fight. And that transitions into the co-main event of the evening. Ben Ross versus Tom Krenzel. This is a fun fight. We talked about this fight off camera. We talked about this fight on camera. We talked to both of these guys leading up to this fight. This is a fun fight. This Tom Krenzel is another guy that had 1 million fights as an amateur, and he's already had 6 fights as a pro. He's willing to fight. He's fought big names. You look at the guys that Tom Krenzel's fought. He's not fighting Joe from the assistant manager at Applebee's. He's fighting legit guys, and Ben's been in there with some tough guys as well. Ben had an esteemed amateur career as well. So going in there, this is a fun fight because we talked to Tom. Everybody knows Tom. Tom's a jiu-jitsu guy, right? That's not what Tom said. Tom said he's been working on his striking a lot these last 5 years. So I'm really excited to see the growth in that. And Ben's another guy who we talked to him. He didn't take a day off. He went through we talked about taking a pandemic. Everybody was forced to stay home. This guy went to elementary schools and was using playground equipment to get a workout in. That's the dedication of a professional athlete.
Rocky, baby.
Yeah. Rock. And when this fight goes in, this is going to be an absolute banger. I'm not sure how this fight plays out. Like it can go 100 different ways.
Yeah, dude. I honestly, I can't pick a winner. I can't tell you who the fight favors. I can't do any of those things. All I can do is show up and watch. And because I like both guys, I pray that both of them leave with the same abilities that they walked into the cage with. But the time off, I want to say, oh, Ben's a wrestler. He's somewhat of an aggressive striker, Maybe he's a precision striker. Maybe he developed his power. Maybe he's been working on more jiu-jitsu. Like you said, we've always known Tom Tomenzel as a jiu-jitsu competitor. Maybe this dude, he has touched on the fact that he's been working on his striking so much. But maybe that was a red herring. Maybe he's trying to say that so he gets you more comfortable on the ground. Or maybe he's actually been working on it, and he's telling him, because in the interview, Tom had mentioned that if it goes to the ground, it's over. He's going to win the fight, and it's going to be like that. Maybe he wants to keep it on the feet. I haven't seen these guys for over 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know, and both of them could be fucking with us.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if they are or not.
Yeah, I hope they were. This is going to be a fun fight. And that leads us to the main event of the evening. The reason why the building's going to be packed, Mr. Felipe Martinez Donez. He's fighting a very, very tough Caleb Murray. Shout out to Felipe. This is a guy who is not trying to take the easy road as a pro. You look at some of the guys he's fought already, and you add Caleb to the list. This is a tough guy. Both of these guys had highly touted amateur careers. Felipe was undefeated as an amateur, took belts. Caleb, I think, he fought everybody as an amateur. 5-6-2, a lot of champions, beat some very, very tough guys. And then you go in, he dips his feet in his pro debut, looked really, really good. So you do this fight, and then you take that with, Felipe, who had his hiccup, came back, looked amazing back earlier this year, which I had a chance to go back and watch after that hiccup. This is a really fun fight to see how this fight plays out. Because, again, you have two strong grapplers, and they both like scrapping. So I think this could be a scrap for sure.
I love Felipe. Felipe is such a great guy, such a nice guy. I've had so many conversations with this man, but I think this fight favors Caleb.
Man, it very well.
It favors him. That's paper.
Yeah.
That's imagination. That's assumption. That's so many things, because there would be no reason why these guys would be fighting if we knew who was going to win. Would you tune in to watch a fight where a guy's going to get beat up? I'm going to call the guy and tell him he's an asshole.
Yeah.
So this fight is one I definitely think favors Caleb.
Yeah.
But you can never count Felipe out.
Yeah.
This dude, oh my God, honestly, he can go out there and start scrapping and start striking. He has power, he has precision, he has a cardio, and he has some really good grappling, as you said. So you don't know exactly what you're going to get from him. And from the pre-fight interview that we did with him, I feel like he's been working on some new things because he's been trying to teach and trying to show and trying to coach. And those guys I always feel are dangerous, because when you're trying to show somebody something and why it works and how it works, you put more thought into what works for you, what works for them. Because if I'm looking at a guy who has a body type similar to me, I'm thinking, all right, I do this, you should do this. But the other guy standing right next to him that's in the room that I'm also coaching doesn't move, look, or perform the same way.
Yeah.
And it's not that they can't go out there and do it. It's just that, dude, I've been 145, 155 pounds my entire life. I have never been a heavyweight. How am I supposed to show you and teach you how to move other than me?
Yeah.
You know, most people have a complication with that. I feel like Felipe has been able to start coaching, start focusing on what works for him, how to coach these other guys, and then that allows you to further break down your own self and decide what works best for you ultimately when you start looking for your own fight, because you just did it with all these other kids. That's what's so exciting about this fight for me, because on paper, I think it favors Caleb.
Yeah.
But with all the coaching and all the training that Felipe has been doing,
yeah,
I'm expecting to see a different fighter than I've ever seen. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's the best he's ever been.
No, both of these guys are very well-rounded fighters. There's not many holes. So it's going to come down to who can find that hole and who's the better man tonight in the cage. This card, I mean, that's the card from start to finish.
This is a perfect fucking card, dude. You have so many fights where you don't know what's going to happen. And honestly, because of all the O&O people on the card, we're going to have a lot more MMA fans built because of this night. And that is why we applaud you, Eric Anderson. Mini golf clap. I mean, this only helps grow the sport, and this is what we love. This is what we want to see, because every fighter that is competing tonight, we want to talk to you. We are interested, and we can't wait to see the growth. We will have a booth set up, and we will be doing post-fight interviews at the fight. So we strictly, this is not an insult to anybody, and I don't want anybody to feel bad, but we only ask the winners for post-fight interviews. But if you lost, we would love to speak with you. We would love to do an interview with you. But if I was to go up to you and say, hey, how does it feel to lose, and put a microphone in your face, would you really appreciate that?
Yeah.
You know, so anybody that's willing to talk to us, we are willing to talk to you. We would love any fighter, win, lose, draw, disqualification, or whatever. We would love to talk to you. We would love to help build your or help give you a platform to build your own audience. Yeah. We would love that. But we have a code and we have respect. I'm not going to go up to a guy who just lost and be like, hey, come talk about it. Yeah. You know how mad TJ and I are both fighters. You know how mad I would be if somebody came up to me and said, hey, bro, I know you just got your ass whooped. Come over here.
Yeah.
You're getting slapped.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a friendly feeling. It's you know, you can usually, it's one you take on the chin, obviously, quite literally sometimes. But, you know, it's not the best one. But, you know, like you said, I've had some fights where my hand didn't get raised, but I felt damn proud about that. And I'd like to speak, you know, and if you'd like to come talk to us, we'll be there. We're going to be the guys with look at my guys. So find us. And this fight's, like I said, this whole card, start to bottom, insanity. I can't wait. This is what we needed. Fights are back. They're live. The bell's going to ring. The cage door's going to lock. Punches are going to be thrown. Be there. Be square. Subscribe to Trash Talk with Damien and TJ. Like this video. Get your tickets and get to Onalaska, Wisconsin at the Onalaska Omni Center tonight. You can still get in the door if you're watching this.
Right
tonight.
Fucking now.
Right now. Get in your car. Get in your car. It's a nice 2-hour drive. You can go through Rochester, scenic views on the bluffs, and then see some scenic views with some fisticuffs. That wasn't supposed to rhyme. We're out of time. Like this video. Don't be a hoe. Bars.